episode 114. Yes, 114 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. And my name is Darby Hallman. What is your name, good sir?
My host is Jeff Mayo.
We're both androids.
Yep.
Jeff, you know what my favorite way to start a podcast is?
Talking about our new equipment.
It is new equipment announcements. Nerds at Large is leveling up, Jeff. Look at how nice and crisp and clear we look. We have a new camera.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I am super, super stoked about this. You see, we don't have dumb black bars on the sides. Our faces are not like grained out, and there's actually somewhat of a point to us having a camera now, except for the fact that, people are going to realize how hideous we look probably. But
shame.
Yeah, that we can't hide under the graininess anymore. No, but I am super excited. We are still planning on moving into a new place in the future. So we're going to have in our new recording area and a room, dedicated recording room, we're going to have the lighting all right, how we want it. And we can do whatever we want. So it's going to look even better than it does now. But I'm just excited. I'm so excited. Look at how it can tell everything that I'm doing. It's so good.
60 frames right there.
60 frames per second. No loot boxes.
None at all. But if you want to subscribe to our Patreon,
Jeffrey, how have you been this fine week? It hasn't even been a full week since we recorded, but
it's been 5 days.
Yeah,
been working.
Yeah.
Playing some video games.
Yes, yeah. As have I, and I've been watching anime.
Gasp.
Yes, I was telling Alex I'm on a roll with anime that I like between. A Place Further in the Universe, MMO Junkie, Love is War, and then now Carol and Tuesday. It's all of those are top tier in my head, and I'm usually insanely I go through a lot of bad anime before I get to the good ones. They're good.
Most people do.
Yeah, this is true.
Sorry, I can promise you, I've seen a lot more trash than you have.
Oh yeah, and I don't plan to go into the gutter that far.
Sometimes it can be fun.
I'll just dip in a little bit and be like, nope, and I throw that right back. Nope. Yeah, no, I'm not for that. Not for that. But I am for playing trash video games. Actually, the game we're talking about right now is not trash. Me, Jeff, and two of our friends have actually been playing Final Fantasy 14. That online game that came out 10 years ago. It was apparently really bad, and then it was better, and then it kept getting better and better and better, and 4 expansions later, we're probably going to be playing this game for the next 10 years.
Yay!
Jeff, how have you been enjoying Final Fantasy 14?
Enjoying it a lot, Dari. We're early on in general, so not being able to experience the whole thing, you know? Obviously, we're in the first thing, so I haven't even touched the expansions. And we haven't even gotten, everyone, I'm the only one who's gotten to the level where I can move around the map, or at least the starting map, completely to the 3 main areas they kind of put you in. So I can...
You're kind of locked into your starting area for a while, and we were all of us except for me and Jeff were in different starting areas.
Because there are 3 of them, there are 4 of us, so we're at least going to have 2 people together. So I'm able to bounce around to everyone else now. I'm still waiting on them. And while waiting, I started a new class, which started me level 1, and I'm already about as high as Darby. Has another 2.
It's not that I'm terribly surprised, but I think this entire playing of Final Fantasy 14 is going to be Jeff just lapping us over and over again with characters.
Come on, Olivia, you're still only level 6. I got level 20 in every class.
Yeah, you get the level 20 in every class, and she's gotten 2 levels where she is now.
Yep.
Well, I'm level 16. I'm about to leave the starting area, but I've also really been enjoying it. I don't know. I don't think either of us have a ton of MMO experience, right? We both played RuneScape a lot in the past. I know I know you played a few others, but
yeah, I played a fair amount.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I shouldn't speak for Jeff. I definitely don't. I played a ton of RuneScape, but who didn't?
Yeah.
And, obviously, this is way different, but I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of a relaxing type of thing. It's pretty, most of the quests you're doing are pretty, low stress, you just kind of...
Go kill certain amount of these monsters, go fetch this item, go bring this item to this character, blah, blah, blah.
When it's a weird thing, I don't know why, but it's a weird thing. All of these quests, if these quests were in The Witcher 3, I would be complaining like crazy. It'd be like,
Yeah.
why am I playing this single player RPG that's wasting my time like this? But for some reason, when you're in an MMO and you're just talking to your friends and hanging out, I almost prefer the just kind of like, you just settle into this pace and like,
And
I'm barely paying attention to the writing. It's just like the combat is cool enough and like layered enough, and it's like adding more and more on there, and you just get that sense of progression. Like my character is starting to look cooler, and I'm starting to get all these fill these things out, you know.
But I will say, right after you do the whole the getting out of the starting area cutscene, there's another cutscene where you go to a different group of characters. Looks really neat, and the thing that they're obviously inspired by in Final Fantasy will make you happy.
Okay.
So it's one of those things, I think partly because Final Fantasy 14 was kind of botched at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it is a giant MMO, so the beginning story is not going to be, it's going to be very basic. I'm not saying it's, I expect to be pretty basic throughout the whole thing, but it might just get crazier and a bunch of other stuff happen as we go, especially when the expansions. I feel like I've heard like even like the what's the one? Shadowbringer. I was about to say Shadowkeep. I think that's Destiny.
Yeah, it's Destiny. God.
Yeah, Shadowbringer's story. I think I've heard good things about. Just Shadowbringer as an expansion as a whole, like best Final Fantasy game in years or something.
I've heard everyone say just overall the content is objectively better like later on than it is at the beginning.
Which has me excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's an MMO, so they're going to purposely make it like it's a time sink intentionally so. And it's one of those things, if I was alone, I don't think I would be enjoying this as much. Like I've enjoyed logging in alone for a little bit, but I don't think it would keep me coming back over and over again if I didn't have friends who were playing. And obviously you can meet friends in there, but that's a lot harder than just going in with the friends you already have. So like it's not for everyone. I think me and you both always knew that we would probably enjoy this game because it has so many references to Final Fantasy. It's like one of me and your favorite game series. So we're going to get a lot of references, and just the combat itself has a lot of layers onto it that seem interesting. I'm really excited to get in dungeons because we already have like 2 DPS, a tank, and a healer, and I really am excited to play around with the team comp and do that. But even outside of that, the economy seemed like open, like you can influence it and everything. And like people were talking about, like, in this world you can go buy an actual house. So there's neighborhoods with people's houses. They all look completely different because they've decorated it in certain ways. And it's like it's an actual you buy a physical space in the world, and it says like if you're super rich you can buy a mansion, or you could just buy a little apartment if you're not. It's like I think stuff like that is really cool.
Yeah. And when we looked into it, and you can kind of have like a mini guild things in there if you have at least 4 people, which we do, so we're probably gonna do that we can put our money together and buy a little like guild house.
Yeah So there's things like that just make it
just kind of goals to go for.
They'll like probably keep us coming back. And it is exciting to like join into this when it's a like pretty much for all intents and purposes endless stream of content for us now, because it would take us so long to get through everything that they've released, because it's like 4 different expansions or something like that.
And as far as a big online game, we can expect it. We'll probably get our money's worth of anything before it ever shut down, because they just released Shadowbringer, which obviously I mean Final Fantasy 14 is doing great, so there's a reason and all Square Enix's conferences and stuff, they have it in there.
So I feel comfortable jumping in, even though it's technically been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
Just crazy. But and so I mean I would recommend it if you have a group of friends like us that have been looking for something to play. Like we played Monster Hunter World for a while, but I don't know, there was just certain aspects of that got tedious after a while, and like we were looking for something else that we could just jump into easily at any time and play. So I would recommend giving it a shot. And if you want to play with us, we're Crystal Data Center Co-World. That's the name of our world, something like that. So let us know. It's a lot of fun. Do you have any other Final Fantasy 14 things you want to talk about? Things you're looking forward to?
Looking forward to going and us being able to play together, and I guess kind of figure out how that's going to work as far as us doing quests and all that together.
Yeah, because we are pretty early still. We haven't been able to do much together. Obviously, me and Jeff are the only ones that have actually been in the same space together.
I was with Alex for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't gone over to see Olivia yet.
Nope. But we'll get around. So I imagine that's going to be something we're playing for a while. So you'll probably hear other updates.
Yeah.
Probably especially when we get into some of the other content, So, yeah. Final Fantasy 14. Do you have any other games that you played this week?
No.
It's only been 5 days. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the game of life and work?
It's work. How about you?
About the same.
But I guess
average Joes.
It's a tease. I mean, not really a tease, but I'm gonna get a game that's coming out on Tuesday. I will hopefully play it and be able to talk about it. And that game is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. If you listened to our content back 2 years ago or whatever,
thank you.
Yep. I didn't. Despite backing it, I was not a big fan of the original Yooka-Laylee, and I was far from alone.
Yeah. No.
But reviews for this have been great. It just looks great. It's seen a lot of comparisons to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which is awesome.
Widely considered one of the best 2D platformers of all time.
Yeah, I agree. So I am hyped for that. It just looks like a really good time.
It's a very interesting trajectory for Yooka-Laylee. If Yooka-Laylee was built just to be like basically we were doing Banjo again, like we were like doing a Banjo clone, and then like that's not successful, and then what if they're like I guess it's a 2D platform, that's gonna be really
Yooka-Laylee
weird.
was successul as far as I can tell. It looks like it sold well and everything,
or at least critically not received well.
Yeah. I'd say it's more mixed than anything. It's the more accurate term. And they did, by the sounds of it, they are going to continue with the 3D aspect. The Impossible Lair is more of a spin-off.
There we go.
And yeah, it is kind of funny. The trajectory is kind of going backwards from Rare, because Rare went from Donkey Kong Country to Banjo, and they're going from the Banjo inspired to the Donkey Kong Country. It's fun. So next we're getting Yooka-Laylee Racing.
And the pirate game.
Yeah, we're getting a pirate game.
The Yooka-Laylee Pirates.
Yes.
Yooka-Laylee Bolts and Nuts.
And we're going to get Yooka-Laylee Bad Scale Day.
Bad Scale Day?
Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Gotcha. Yes. You're right. And then
Laylee's going to say fuck!
So edgy.
Yep. Okay.
Don't cut yourself in the edge.
So look forward to that.
All right, Jeffrey, will you give me a news jingle?
Jingle, 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 Darby.
There it is.
So, Darby, this barely missed our PlayStation podcast last week.
Yeah,
we talked a lot about PlayStation things.
Sony Pony Episode 1.
Yep.
This is Sony Pony Episode 1.5.
Yep. This is from Matt Purcell from IGN. Sony's crossplay function for PlayStation 4 has now completed its beta phase and is a full feature for developers to make use of. Strangely, Sony has made no official announcement about crossplay being promoted to a full feature. This is a little old article. As far as I know, they still haven't. Darby, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I haven't seen much.
The news instead comes from a Wired article which states that crossplay is now available to any developer that wishes to implement it in their game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare seems likely to be the first new game to support this at launch, with it being set for release later this month. Darby, this is low-key big news, of course. Kind of somewhat been under the radar. Is that fair to say?
No, I think that's very fair to say, especially when, as we've been doing with a lot of things recently, you compare this to Microsoft, and you had, for the last 2 years, Phil Spencer's on Twitter being like, yes, we want crossplay. Like, yes, I'd love to do this. I'd love to make this happen.
And Microsoft have been putting the money where their mouth is, because there's been plenty of games where they're like, hey, crossplay on Xbox and Switch and Steam, maybe.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation's been left out. Like, a game I've been playing some recently that's been that way is Power Rangers, where it's crossplay on everything except for PS4.
Yeah. So that's still happening.
Which I imagine that will change as, this happens. So what's exciting about this, Daria, is maybe we can play Overwatch with Cool Alex.
Ooh, yeah. If that... I wonder how long it's going to take to start seeing some of the stuff implemented. But I mean, like, for at least what a lot of developers were saying back during that time, like when Rocket League was one of the famous ones saying it, and Fortnite obviously saying it would be super easy if they just allow us to do this. It's super easy to put crossplay into our games. I'm sure that's not always the case, but it at least seemed like it was for a lot of them.
It's just going to be dependent on the developer as in-game and all that.
Yeah. But either way, like, yes, it's a huge thing, but I can't kind of just like the Sean Layden news almost, like their handling of this is a little weird. It's like, it kind of seems like, okay, fine, we'll do this, but they're not like
broadcasting it.
Yeah. Sony just seems in a weird place as far as messaging anything. Like, not like I've enjoyed State of Play, but State of Play even like doesn't 100% know what it's trying to be. Like it's becoming more and more like a Nintendo Direct, but like we don't have a face for PlayStation like we used to, and it's just kind of like, are they for crossplay or are they not? Do they want to promote their streaming services or do they not? Because they also PlayStation Now has quietly been a really good really good lineup for a long time, but they don't talk about it like Xbox does Game Pass. You know?
Well, that's changing, Dirty, because you know what I saw on TV today?
Was there a PlayStation Now commercial?
On NFL games? Yes, a PlayStation Now. It was like a live action thing where a bunch of game characters like Nathan Drake, Kratos, and Scorpion and all stuff were falling from the sky or whatever, and it's a PlayStation Now $9.99 a month.
Well, then that's starting to happen then there you go. That's very
like brand
obvious
new.
that this is.
I think I saw it yesterday, first time.
This is like putting the sights on Game Pass and be like, okay, we're actually competing.
They're starting to push it now, which is good. I am 100% going to subscribe to it at some point. I'm just gonna wait because there's other stuff going until I actually want to play something on it before I start subscribing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But I think overall, it's definitely a good deal.
Yeah,
and I think on the games media side, there's still like a lot of people that like PlayStation Now just has like a weird stigma to it. It's like, you know, everyone needs to kind of like look at it again and realize, and that's partially Sony needs to like do a good job marketing it to get to that point.
I will say I am a little worried about PlayStation Now and their potential game output as far as the first party stuff, which will obviously be a big selling point. Because they're using Infamous Second Son as a big seller just for this is just going to be a time thing. I just kind of thought that more as we've gotten farther away from us talking about it last week in the announcements. Like, Infamous Second Son should probably be one you just add there permanently. Yeah. Who's buying that at this point?
That's what, like, all the other ones.
God of War, okay. Grand Theft Auto, okay. Those, I get why you can make those times.
But at this point, it's like, if you have a PS4 and you wanted Infamous Second Son, it seems like you would have already had it, but no, it's been like a PlayStation Plus game. It's been sold for dirt cheap. It's been, so. But, yeah, I agree.
Well, and obviously me and you will talk about whatever their strategies and what games they had to it.
The only thing, coming back to the crossplay thing, is just that maybe since... Really, this is just like, hey, it's open now. Like, people can do if they want. Maybe they wanted to save it for, like...
When they have a list of games.
Right. When they want to be like, Call of Duty or Overwatch or whatever they want to, like, you know, promote that. Yeah. I guess, like, once those start happening, we need to, like, pay attention to, is PlayStation, like, showing that they're excited about that? Are they tweeting, like, play with all your friends, do all this, you know? I could still see them not being, because again, it seems like something that they didn't want to do, or at least old PlayStation didn't. But it seems like PlayStation is changing a lot. You know, different leadership coming in. Maybe they'll start to look a lot more like Xbox as far as their messaging. With know, we want to play with everyone.
I can hope.
Hopefully, it would potentially be a bad sign for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Because right now, PlayStation already just has the games over Microsoft. Microsoft just has the mentality and the system.
What helps Microsoft, especially when it comes to the streaming service part, is they're kind of more in the public consciousness as far as being the one who has a good one. And honestly, Game Pass is just still more appealing.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah, because it has
you can download all their games. It has all the first party in the future and the past.
Like confirmed. Like, we don't have to wait and see. Well, Sony had this, and that's what we know at first. How long until that? How long would be on there? Will be permanent? All that. And the fact that Microsoft has a bunch of indie games jumping on there day one too.
That too. And it has a lot more current games, because like PlayStation Now might have like double or triple or whatever the library that Xbox Game Pass does, but Xbox Game Pass has games like Devil May Cry 5. Like, it has a bunch of like 2019 games or 2018
Jump
games.
Force. You know?
It has like,
again, the indie games like After Party and all that stuff on there the day they release.
And you might start to see a lot of those same games might also come to PlayStation Now at the same time, especially if it starts to blow up.
I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not beholden to Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah. Also, I think what helps Game Pass as far as it selling its fact, it is also there's a PC version of it, which will be enticing to another group of people.
Yeah. Yep.
So-
And the download option. I mean, again, like
PlayStation now does the download, but it's just for PS4 and PS2 games.
Yeah, you can only download those two. You can't download any PS3 games.
Yeah.
It just seems like for some reason most of the games I've ended up playing on PlayStation now happen to be PS3 games. It's especially obnoxious because Sly Cooper is considered a PS3 game because it's the collection.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really just a Sly Cooper service.
Yep. Speaking of services, Dory, let's talk about a game for a service.
Well, it couldn't be speaking of Sly Cooper.
Secret
Secret news item.
Darby, I probably wouldn't even do a segment for that. Darby Sly Cooper, that'd be at the top of the
That'd be the entire podcast.
That'd be the top of the news.
Quit wasting time introducing yourself. No one cares who you are, Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper. Yeah. But, okay, so let's get into it. A new trailer for Marvel's Avengers was released and reveals that Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, is a playable character as well as the main character of the story.
Yeah, which is
Wild.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, we knew she was in the game. They announced her already. Leaks told so. We knew she was going to be a playable character, all that. But the fact she is the main character. Nice.
I do wonder exactly what that means in this story. It's just like
I think what it really means is going to revolve around her. We saw a little bit of gameplay of her. It's going to start out with the whole A-Day or whatever the hell it's called section, which is the prologue, I think if they called it, and then you do the 5-year thing. You're going for Kamala's point of view. You see her going around. And she's going to be there no matter what, and you might be jumping between her being with different Avengers. I think that's going to be that kind of thing.
I'm sure there'll be some stories that probably is like, this is what the other group of Avengers are doing somewhere else.
Maybe some of that.
At least the story is like, she's the focal point.
Yeah, she's the focal point. Which is, just away from the video things, nice for as far as representation goes, and obviously and all that, and just kind of cool that this newer character, because she's only 6 years old as a character, I believe. It's becoming so big that she is the main character of a big AAA Avengers game, and that she is going to be inserted in the MCU for the next couple of years with the Disney Plus show going into the movies.
And it's a little exciting to me because it's like kind of one of the first not safe things this game has done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, having a character, as I said, not in the MCU at the moment, so one that most people may not be as familiar with, and making her the main character, and
it's something that could make this stand out more. If this becomes like a character, because I'm not super familiar with her, like I know about her, but I don't know a ton. And if this game makes me like, there's a new MCU character now that I love because of this game.
It's like, they'll probably just increase your interest for that Disney Plus show whenever it comes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Disney with Marvel and stuff. Now they're getting to the point where, like, with Captain Marvel and some of these other new characters, they're like trying to drum up as much support, hype as they can for like some of the lesser known characters that are probably going to become not lesser known.
Oh yeah, I mean, Iron Man might have been considered a lesser known character.
Oh, he 100% was, at least comparatively to like Spider-Man and
X-Men.
And the X-Men.
Yep. So before we get into the actual trailers for that, I'm going to read this off because I think it would kind of go into it as far as where this discussion might go.
Let's do it.
This is from Matthew Aguilar. I think that's how I pronounce it, from comicbook.com. From Crystal Dynamics senior brand director Rich Briggs in an interview. Quote, I think it'll depend on exactly how deep you want to go, and this is about the length for the game, Briggs said. So if you think about previous Crystal games, you know that if you want to be playing your way through the core story, it's going to be in that area 10 to 12 hours, including side content / completions run about 30 plus hours. And quote, but if you want to see everything there is and do all the side missions and everything else, you're generally looking at 30 plus hours in the Tomb Raider game. So we're not putting exact numbers on it just yet, but you can expect something comparable to that to what we've done in the past with that regard. And then, of course, you have the extended narrative and the extended gameplay, and more here is post-launch, end quote.
Briggs, what's your game? Because this is making it sound like it's just like your normal third-person story action game, like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and then you're doing games of a service. It's
just very confusing.
This quote continues the problem, of what exactly are they trying to do in the game, because Like, just said, it sounds like they're trying to be the kind of third-person action game, story-focused action game, which I kind of prefer that. They just went all in on that. And the games of a service thing.
Yeah. I mean, which we still really only know about that because of, like, quotes.
Quotes and, press releases and stuff, not necessarily their E3 presentation.
I mean, has anyone even... I know people have played some of it now, but has anyone played, like... I'm going into this menu for this thing, and we all choose our heroes or anything. Like, I don't think anyone's seen that.
Based on what I've seen, people have played the A-Day, the prologue, thing from the trailers,
which is very scripted and
and a little Kamala Khan gameplay,
and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's weird, like. Especially, like, I think we're going to be doing this the entire time until both games release. But when you compare it to, like, Final Fantasy VII, and, like, we got to the point with Final Fantasy VII where it's like, okay, we are talking about the game, we're showing it all the time, we're doing interviews all over the place, like, we are in the full marketing cycle of the game. Like, we know everything. We know everything about, like, the gameplay of Final Fantasy VII. Like, what the
we
actual
know exactly
game is.
what that game is, and they're just kind of little things that they need to show us at this point.
Right. It's
or
like,
don't show us.
It's more like story stuff that it's like, we're not going to show you this. And I'm like, good, don't. But, like, we understand what we're buying there. I mean, obviously, they haven't been completely clear with the part 1 thing or whatever. But, overall, we know what we're buying as far as gameplay-wise.
I feel like there's always something with Square. There's always something with Square.
But Avengers, I feel like we're at the same spot with Avengers, and we know so much less. Like, they're talking about it a lot, but they're just kind of saying... They're talking around what the game is. They're trying to please everyone. Mm-hmm. But, like, when it comes... Like, I don't know.
I don't think it helps that for a lot of the stuff, you're probably getting more details in Comic-Con panels. Is where a lot of the main information where some of the stuff might have been told is coming from. Because this is where they showed this trailer off originally, and this is where the gameplay was originally premiered and all that stuff. It's okay. So let's get in, I guess, into Daria. What do you think of the trailer as far as what was shown in there? I guess from a story and gameplay standpoint.
I think it seemed pretty cool. I don't think there was anything like
mind-blowing that changed your mind from earlier.
Yeah, nothing's going to like crazy stick in my head. Nothing looked bad, I think the models still look like there's something a little weird about them. Like they don't look bad. They look kind of realistic, but they also, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's something a little weird about it.
I think they do look better
faces.
than before.
Yeah.
It's the whole Comic-Con thing that makes me more interested in the story part of it.
100%.
Which is good. Her gameplay looks pretty cool. That she kind of looks like compared to everyone else. It's kind of a more grounded thing. Comparatively, even despite her being able to expand her limbs.
Big hands, though, Joe.
And big
hands.
Big Yoshi. And it kind of looked like there was a little more generic third-person thing, gameplay where she was like climbing on rooftops and all that, which is fun.
Yeah, and that was another one of those, like, those shots straight up look like Tomb Raider. It looks like, third-person action story game.
I just kind of wish we can look at this 10 to 12 hour thing and then 30 hour if you want to go into it and be like, yeah, that sounds good, because we just know it's just a straight up cinematic third-person action game.
If you took that quote that he just said completely out of context and gave it to us a year ago, we would have thought like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a Crystal Dynamics like third-person action game for whatever, like awesome. But right now we're like, I just feel like I'm being misled. I can't help. Every time I hear about this game, I feel like I'm being misled.
They just need to show exactly what's the game as a service part of it, and then we'll either be like, okay, this game isn't really for us. We'll get it on sale for the story part of it, I guess would probably be it. Yeah. Or we're like, okay, we know what it is now. We're fine with this. We're good.
Right.
But yeah.
Or like the two sides of itself are separated enough for something, but
no.
Like Avengers is still just so up in the air, because this game could be sweet. It's just, it depends a lot on how it shakes out, and it's pretty bad when even games media people don't really seem to know much more than me and you about what the game actually is. I don't know. A lot of budget's going into it.
Yep. Speaking of budget, Iron Man VR.
Probably a lot of budget just in getting the
VR
license.
game. Yeah.
And just making a VR game, period.
I'm a VR got a new trailer and a release date of February 28th, 2020.
Well, Mr. VR man, what did you think about this trailer?
I think it looks fun. Here's the problem, and it's just a thing about VR. Even the best VR games, trailers aren't the best way to show off the game, and that's just generally unfortunate. Like, you can look at the gameplay and be like, oh, that kind of looks boring or whatever, the graphics don't look good, but then you put the headset on, and then that is just the best thing ever.
Yeah. It's one of those things, I think, obviously price has been a big killer in VR taking off, but there's been other expensive things that have taken off. I think it's the combination of the high price and just, again, it's hard to justify that high price because every time you look at a video, it never really sells it.
But what made me more excited for it based on this trailer is the focus on story and it not being. We kind of saw this in interviews and stuff, but the first trailer we saw made it like, oh, might like story stuff, but you're just kind of Iron Man flying from the sky, shooting targets, and kind of just flying in one space or whatever. That doesn't seem to be the case. It's like it is going to be story heavy. It's just like there might be more going on as far as the combat and the flight and all that stuff, which is good. And as I think we've talked about since the reveal of it, people have actually got their hands on with it, and it actually feels very good to control and really cool. So.
Yeah.
What sucks is that this release date.
It's like right on top of Last of Us and Final Fantasy 7.
All right, so that pretty much means I'm not getting this game right away, even if it's killing it in reviews. Yeah. Which is probably a good thing that I'll be waiting for. I 100% will have to wait for reviews.
Yeah. My biggest fear with this is one of those, like, I feel like you could strap me into this for an hour and I come out of it being like, this was awesome. Like, I felt like I was Iron Man. I was flying through. Like, it felt
you don't
great
need any more?
or whatever. But I feel like I'll feel like that in hour 1. But once I get the game and I'm in hour 10,
yeah,
I wonder if I still feel that way. Yeah. I wonder if I've, like, it just seems like I struggle to see this game not feeling shallow. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's going to do one thing. And it might do that one thing really well, but is that going to carry through a whole game? Because, like, I mean, maybe I'm just not being creative enough thinking, but, like, I struggle to see what else you do. What much else you do in the Iron Man besides flying around shooting things and is experiencing, like, Stark Tower and all this other stuff. But I just worry about that not carrying weight through an entire game. That's my biggest worry right now.
I agree. It'll be interesting to see how this game does and is and all that kind of stuff.
And if there's still definitely a chance that the story kind of just feels like, well, this was generic Iron Man story plastered on a VR game, you know. Yeah. It's almost like a Mortal Kombat story where, like, oh, we just need an excuse for you to be flying in the air and shooting things. So I guess someone attacks. Here you go in the air. You know?
Yeah, but the combat sections are cool, and your fears aren't realized or whatever, and it is interesting all the way through. The story can be simple and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It just it needs to find a good mix of the whole story being interesting and the gameplay continuing to be interesting too.
Yeah,
nail it.
It's a delicate balance, and I mean, this is why a lot of, like, long, bigger VR titles or whatever, there's not a ton of them, and there's a decent amount of bad ones, but
not every game can be Astrobot.
And unfortunately, even the really good ones, a lot of times they don't sell a ton. It's just, unfortunately, for VR. Yeah. Are there any VR games in PlayStation now?
No.
I wonder if that will happen in the future. That could be a good way to get people to play Astrobot and stuff like that.
Everyone should play Astrobot.
They should. I agree.
Yep. Okay. Moving on, Derby. We got to talk about Pokemon, of course.
Of course.
We talked
about that 24-hour live stream last week, and Jeff watched the entire thing. So Jeff,
stayed up and watched the entire thing, Darby. I died a little. No, I didn't actually watch the whole thing. I didn't open the live stream at all.
He's not that much of a madman. He doesn't hate himself that much.
I'm almost say that. But yeah. But I followed updates of it. It seemed to mostly have been, hey, a Pikachu walked by and maybe did a little dance. Cool. Hey, there's a head of a mushroom Pokemon sticking up. And it's just mainly Pokemon that we knew of. Old Pokemon, most of which we knew were in this game. But there was at some point, I don't know how long to the stream, where you see a little head poke out, and you're like, what is that? That's not the thing we know before. And there's a cry, Pokemon cry, and it's like, what is that? It does sound a little familiar. People immediately figured out it was Galarian Ponyta, but dear Lord, did they just string you along the whole time through that thing. They pretty much did this whole thing.
That was the only worthwhile thing in 24 hours.
Yes. So here's the thing about, just before we get to Galarian Ponyta, this whole thing. The idea is really cool.
No, yeah, when you said this last week, I was like, this sounds really interesting. It'll reward people who do stick around or whatever. But like, I thought it was gonna be like, we're gonna reveal like 10 Pokemon in this.
That's what I was hoping.
At least.
And even when the new Pokemon aren't out there, the Pokemon that we already know about, like just walking around, interacting, stuff, like you see little Wooloos playing in the forest.
You
see,
did, like
no,
you
didn't see that.
Yeah,
like be cool. And I like, okay, at least if it's not a new Pokemon, that's something cool and fun. And it just wasn't that. There was one. I showed you a little gif of when they finally just showed the full model of Ponyta, when it was just two Ponytas kind of jumping around playing and kind of rubbing heads and all that, just being cute.
Yeah.
So getting to Galarian Ponyta, technically it's been officially announced. They could be like, you thought that was Ponyta, but it's not. It is Ponyta, but they technically have not officially revealed it. They might do that tomorrow. So by the time this podcast is up, this talk as far as the potential Galarian Ponyta might be outdated, but whatever.
Irrelevant. We are irrelevant.
But it is adorable. It has a little horn like a unicorn. It has rainbow hair fur things in replace of its fire, and it glows. People have reason to believe it is at least part fairy, if not pure fairy, which makes sense. But my only problem with that would be, it's like, well, we just got Galarian Weezing, and it's also a fairy type. I wish they wouldn't just stick fairy to all these Pokemon.
that garbage stink boy with a top hat is a fairy.
It's a poison fairy type.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm very interested to learn more about this Pokemon. See maybe a Rapidash, its evolved form looks like.
Rapidash.
Yes, Rapidash.
He's super fast Ash.
Yeah. See what that looks like and all that. See if it's gonna be exclusive to one game, and see if that influences which game I'll get. But yeah,
it just feels like they told the developers, like, oh yeah, by the way, tomorrow we're doing this 24-hour live stream, so have some Pokemon ready. It's like, wait, what? Tomorrow?
And also says something. The pace that they're releasing Pokemon is a little scary to me, because we only got to about 30, and the game's out in a month.
Yeah, hopefully that just means they're trying to like reveal a bunch of them once you get in the game and not spoil them.
Yeah, that's how they used to do it. But the last one, Sun and Moon, they revealed almost every single Pokemon before the game came out. But they got backlash for it, so I'm hoping they just took the backlash to heart and they're just gonna keep a lot for in-game.
Wouldn't you prefer to be surprised?
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't know. Maybe it might just mean that there's not a ton of new Pokemon, which would suck.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But I said I would give updates for the Pokemon Game Informer stuff. There were some, and here I am doing that. It's from Matt Cameron from IGN. A previous version of this story, the Pokemon gym story, said there are 18 gyms in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Pokemon Company has clarified that it is 8 gyms, but they will be different depending on the version, which we kind of knew about. Here is a statement from the Pokemon Company. Quote, in the Galar region, Pokemon gym battles are popular sporting events, and the 18 different types of gyms that exist in Galar contribute to the background setting of the story in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. In each game, trainers must collect 8 badges to complete the gym challenge and earn the opportunity to participate in the Champion Cup. Over the course of the main story, trainers will challenge 8 gyms, which are all in the Major League. Which gyms appear in the Major League and Minor League will differ between Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. For example, depending on the version of the game, trainers will be able to challenge different gym leaders, such as B or Alistair. Each version will have 8 gyms and 8 gym leaders that trainers can battle for traditional gym challenge experience that fans have enjoyed throughout the Pokemon video game series. So, this wasn't as cool as I made it sound like last week. This is more what we originally thought when Bay and Alistair were revealed. That's the fighting gym leader and the ghost guy. That there are going to be some gym leader differences in there, and then some of them are going to be the same. What I'm hoping is, since they're saying there are minor league and major league, that in post game you can just go challenge all the other leaders.
Yeah.
Or challenge them sometime during it.
But this is making it sound like we thought that the 18 would all be like playable gyms that you can do, but it's really just the normal 8.
Yeah. I'm hoping you can at least, like I said, I hope even if it ends in post game, which would be cool because post games have been lacking in the last few Pokemons, that you can challenge them in some way.
Yeah. I hope. But honestly, just from the outside, everything about this Pokemon game, it seems like every stage of the way here has been like, are they going to do the kind of more exciting new thing? Nope, they're not. They're going to do the normal thing. Are they up? Is it going to be different? Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to be their roller coaster with this entire game. I mean, am I wrong?
No, not really. Thought it'd be cool with the whole minor league, major league thing, but I did find it weird with the whole Bay and Alistair
talking to the mic.
Release or news thing that they did, that it kind of contradicted it in a way, but I don't know. Well, I'll have to see how it all goes with the whole thing, since there are 18 gyms in the game technically, or in this
all
world.
the other ones are just like in the story. You hear about these gyms
Potentially,
basically?
they're like in the world, but they may not be part of the main story, and some you are going to face in Sword, but not Shield, and vice versa.
So you don't even have to work through the minors. You're just immediately in the majors.
Yep.
Entitled.
Again, I'm hoping this, assuming they made the all 18 gyms, that you can challenge them post game or something. Because that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like you go for a gauntlet and you pretty much battle a gym leader of every single type. That could be fun.
No, it'd be that's what made the 18 sound so
Yeah.
awesome, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I would expect you just have the normal 8 with normal types.
Yeah.
And nothing too special.
Yeah.
That'd
Okay.
be cynical Pokemon, man.
Let's see. There is something that's not generally as cool as Pokemon.
More cynicism.
Yeah, let's go. Let me make sure, because unfortunately I forgot to print some stuff. So, okay. Got to start reading.
We have that 50 Metacritic score, Jeffrey.
Yep, this is from
What
Mike.
game am I talking about? You have to wait 3 seconds to find out.
This is from Mike Williams from US Gamer. Ghost Recon Breakpoint begins its full launch this evening, with all players able to access Ubisoft's latest Tom Clancy title. Ahead of launch, though, Breakpoint has had a rough time defining itself between a contentious beta and the full scope of its microtransactions, Darby.
The microtransactions.
Yep, that damn Michael. The latter problem seems to be one that Ubisoft is keen to address, which, with community statement coming today on the official Ghost Recon forums. In the post, Breakpoint developer Ubisoft Paris outlines the overall philosophy of the game, which involves not having any pay-to-win elements. The team wants players that wish to avoid microtransactions to feel like they're not being affected by that choice. This seems to conflict with a huge list of microtransactions, which include weapon blueprints, vehicles, and weapon attachments, which translate across to PvE and PvP play. The store also has comedic items and time savers, the latter of which Ubisoft says weren't meant to be live at launch. Quote, we are aware that during the early access to Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint on October 1st, some time saver items, skill point bundles, XP boosters, parts bundles for advanced weapon upgrades were available for a purchase for a few hours in our store. This was not our intention, it was an error on our behalf, says Ubisoft. These items were designed as an optional way for players arriving late to the game post-launch to catch up with those who have been playing for longer and enjoy our co-op and challenging in-game experiences. These time savers have since been removed from a store for now. Let's see, there's more. Ubisoft says that it will be monitoring the game's economy and balancing carefully in the future. The studio also contends that Breakpoint is a live game. Like most of Ubisoft's releases these days, it will be tweaked and changed on a regular basis post-launch.
Okay.
This is all icky.
Yes, and I feel like so many times recently now we've had this developer, like, when they're making a game and either in a beta or somewhere else, it's like, oh, whoops, we include the microtransactions in there, and then they immediately have that press release of like, oh, this is not supposed to be in the game, we care about players and we're gonna like look into this or whatever. It happens so damn much that it's impossible that it's not intended.
Yeah.
They put them out there to see if people are going to react to them. And when they do, it's like, okay, now we're going to have, look at how good we are. Look at us like acting on microtransactions. And you have a bunch of games media people that I've heard for the umpteenth freaking time saying, hats off to Ubisoft for addressing this, good on them, good on them. It's like, I don't buy this anymore.
No.
I imagine you're in a similar way. I feel like we've had this same exact story so many times.
You accidentally turn on the time saver ones early.
And why is it always? That's always the mistake that gets done early.
And the early thing doesn't make it better.
No.
The fact that these even exist in the first place.
And then you have like people like Activision that is even worse. They like won't have them at launch so that their review scores are
it was a very interesting
and then they'll add them in there a month
thing.
later.
I can't remember because I listen to so much Easy Allies. Can't remember where it was from. Might have been in their main podcast. They were talking. I think it was. They were talking about Call of Duty and how they review it. And like, well, last year they did it, so it wouldn't be brought up in reviews. The microtransactions late. There's like, well, we can't put them in, say it necessarily because we gotta review the game as is, which that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But they did say, well, I guess put a disclaimer. Hey, this happened. This is a chance this would happen again.
No, and you should because it's so abundantly clear that people like Activision are trying to break the game.
Does Crash need this junk?
It absolutely doesn't. And it's so clear that now Activision just sees like, oh, everyone bought the Crash Insane trilogy? All right, cool. This is another avenue for us to milk money out of people. Like,
Crash Team Racing is a sacred place.
Crash is nothing more than just another money-making scheme to them. They're using your nostalgia so that they can do this. No, it's like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They do the same thing with almost all of their games. It's
not right.
And then I don't know if Ubisoft has taken that tactic yet, but this is pretty much the same damn thing where it's like we're gonna let the outrage happen right now, and then have our PR cover up and everything is good, and then we can sneak them in later or put in a lesser version of it.
And here's just seeing this, and obviously this is the exact same thing as like Call of Duty and Crash because those games reviewed well. This game reviewed terribly.
Yeah, they might not have completely known that was coming, but
I feel like they did.
They probably did.
I feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously what we see is not the end all be all, but I feel like the push for this has not been the same as other big Ubisoft games.
No, and it's been a very quick turnaround from announcements to it was even in that E3 trailer. It was like, so is this a DLC? Oh no, it's a full game.
Oh, it's coming out this year?
In a few months? Huh, interesting. And everyone was already saying, like, wait, what? You already have another full game? Like,
you have another Tom Clancy game? Division 2 just came out.
When even Wildlands was not too terribly long ago. I mean, it seemed, all of that just seemed weird. And, like, right before the next console generation, it really, like, this game just kind of felt like maybe it did start as DLC. And then they're like, all right, just flesh it out a little bit more, and put it out. We have PS5 to worry about. Like, get this out the door. It's weird. It's a weird one. And especially after how much people liked Wildlands, especially if this just comes out and it's just a big fat turd. It's just like a bomb.
I'm not sure how
it might not
like the general audience is receiving it, but I feel like the last couple times these big AAA games have bombed review-wise like this, like Anthem and Fallout 76. You have those people that do enjoy it, and that's fine, but generally people are like, yeah, this is trash. Insert company name here. What the fuck are you doing?
I'm just and as far as this whole story, I'm just personally done with this type of story, and I'm done with look at the developer responding to this. It's like, it happens too much, and it's too formulaic, and they have that PR statement immediately ready to go to make themselves look good.
Like
using time saver stuff with capital letters, like it's a. I
don't think we talked about Crash on here because I was partly maybe should have, but it's kind of like it's Activision, so it's in a way not news, but probably should have brought it up more than we probably did. I don't think it was a headline, but it probably came up in other news.
Yeah, I can't remember if we did or not, but.
Yeah, at this point for like Ubisoft and Activision and EA and stuff, it's more news when they don't do it.
It is. It's just getting grummier and getting hid less because just everyone's getting too used to it, and it's just like a central way for developers to make money nowadays, even for games that it just makes no damn sense for them to be in.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, a remake of a super old Crash Kart Racer game. Why in the hell? Why in God's name does that need loot boxes?
I thought
it just doesn't even make sense.
I thought they were going with the Mario Tennis Aces route with the character updates and stages where it was kind of like a battle pass type thing. I mean,
you got all of them for free though, didn't you? Or were there other characters that weren't paid for tennis? Because I remember.
No. That's what I was saying. I thought they were going with the tennis route where it was all free. Like there was some kind of thing. I thought it was with Crash. And I might be wrong because I haven't played the game.
It was Battle Pass in the way of like it's monthly content. Like this monthly, you have this.
No. Yeah, that's what I mean with Crash. I thought it was that was gonna be a monthly thing, and you can do the stuff to unlock the characters. But at the end of the month, you get it automatically, like in Mario Tennis Aces. You could play the tournament and get the character right away, or you can wait to the end to just get it anyway.
Right.
I was thinking that was gonna be like that. And like this would be awesome. Spyro would be on there. Like if I ever got the game, and it'd be all good, and be like, okay. It's nothing sacred.
It's just icky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Final Fantasy VII. Here's the Shinra box. Crank the wheel to see if you can get the Ultima material. Ultima attack.
I gotta pay us $10 to get Vincent.
If you have a 1 in a million chance of getting Knights in the round. Yeah, if you want Vincent, you better give us some cash.
Pay up. If you want the Team 4-star, dub.
That might be worth the extra cash.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Darby, what's about something that's not icky and just fun?
Yes. Pure fun. Just pure fun in an IV into your veins.
Yep.
Is what this next story is.
Yep. Okay. Monster Hunter World Iceborne will be crossing over with Resident Evil 2 this November. You can dress up your hunter as Leon, Claire, or even a zombie. And you can even make the handler. You make the handler the tyrant, aka Mr. X.
Mr. X. And seriously, anyone watching this that has not seen the trailer, even if you don't care about Monster Hunter or Resident Evil, go watch this trailer just to see Mr. X as the handler, because he literally does the exact same animations, like this cute and bubbly like body language as Mr. X. It looks like a PC mod. It looks like a really like meme fan mod, and it's hilarious that it's an official thing in the game. It's so damn good.
This kind of stuff I approve.
Oh yeah. It's like they even I'm just glad like they're doing this Resident Evil thing, and they're obviously just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, they could have tried to take it seriously, but it's like, no, we're just gonna have.
You can't make a zombie game going into Monster Hunter serious anyway.
No.
And they got like a Spencer Mansion stage thing, it looks like. But it looks like they're going crazy with it, and I'm all for it.
Tofu man.
Yes. They're doing the memes. I appreciate it.
Good. It's so
Next
good.
to that, Tom's Tank Engine is the handler.
So pure. So good.
Yeah. The Monster Hunter does 10 out of 10 crossover stuff.
Yeah, and I was saying this before when we were watching the trailer. I really want Monster Hunter to just almost go a Smash Bros route where it's like we're just going to try to cross over with as many things as we can before the next game. Like here we're going to do a Final Fantasy crossover, or we already did. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones they can do.
Nope.
I want them to keep surprising. And this is completely free with Iceborne, right? It's just part of Iceborne, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think it costed extra money.
I don't think any of the other ones cost money.
None of them did. The Behemoth didn't. All the Aloy skins and all that. I don't think any of that cost money. But they were limited time.
Limited time, but yeah. Which is fine. That's what they want to do. I kind of wish it was there always, but
yeah. I mean, I think stuff like Behemoth and in the Witcher content, I think all of those are always
Aloy and stuff is time.
I think some of the costumes, just costume ones, were limited time. At least I'm pretty sure the Final Fantasy and Witcher things are permanent. But yeah, when you start to add up all the crossovers they've had, it's quite a few at this point, and they're like they're different things.
It's not all just Capcom.
Yeah, Witcher, and then like PlayStation stuff. They had Street Fighter. They had like Ryu skin.
They had Dante, didn't they?
And I think they had Dante as well. Yeah.
I wonder what Capcom
what Final Fantasy.
What obvious Capcom thing they got left to add in there.
I'm sure they've done Mega Man, right?
Oh yeah, they launched with a Mega Man thing.
Yeah.
You can have like a 8-bit Mega Man palette costume.
Phoenix, right?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Throw papers at the monsters. that becomes a new weapon. They introduce a new weapon. And it's just court papers.
Every time you swing this, do a critical hit. Objection. Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Final news story, Darby.
It's another big one.
Another big one. It's finally happening, Darby. This comes from Jason Wade and Matt Kemp from IGN. Rockstar Games officially announced Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to PC. There'll be special bonuses for anybody who pre-purchases the game on Rockstar PC launcher starting October 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been rumored for PC since it launched on consoles. Data miners previously found evidence that pointed to a PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2. By the time, Rockstar wouldn't confirm anything. Today, that all changes as the official release date is set for November 5th. Rockstar also announcing Red Dead Redemption 2 will be available as a launch title for Google Stadia sometime this November. The game will also be available on Steam this December.
Hey, I have a pretty good laptop, but even I'm kind of worried about this game if like melting my laptop if I try to run it. I mean, like maybe it would work all right. I just know Red Dead Redemption 2 is obviously like 100 gigs on the PlayStation. It's insane. But no, this is one of those games that I think because of it being such a technical powerhouse, it's almost kind of a shame that it's only been on console. You know, you haven't really been able to see. Like, Red Dead Redemption was beautiful and stunning on PS4. Can you imagine what it's going to be on, like, high-end PCs? It's going to be just...
Plus, I can't wait to see Duchess Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, that. I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2 online, which definitely has not blown up as much as Grand Theft Auto 5 online. It still won't, but this could definitely help it in a lot of ways. Just having the PC community playing it in general and mods and other stuff like that. Duchess Mr. Krabs. Yes. Lock it in. Confirm.
Hashtag Duchess Krabs.
So I definitely want, like, I'm going to replay this game again at some point. I've been thinking the last 2 weeks, I've just been thinking back to that game. It's like, holy shit, that was a good game. It's like, I miss that game. I miss so many.
It came out exactly a year ago.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Damn, that is such a good game. And if I do replay it, if this PC... if this laptop or a future PC I have could run it, like I'm definitely going to replay it on PC at some point, whether it's this or it's way in the future and when I have a nice PC. I don't know. But that's obviously going to be the best way to play Red Dead Redemption 2. And more people should play it and more people should like it. You're all wrong.
You're all wrong!
The GOTY, one of the greatest games of all time.
It's true. It's true.
And that's a fact. I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. That's a fact.
You heard it here first.
How could I say something so controversial yet so brave?
I don't know, Darby. You're just a very brave soul. Okay, Darby. We're going to get to
Fandango wants to know what I think about the Joker. Sorry, Jeff. I have to stop and write an entire review right now.
Or Fandango can listen to our Spoilercast, which we will have out within about a week or something, probably.
Yeah.
Too late for us to probably do it tonight. Plus, we want to kind of sit on how we feel.
It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot.
Yeah. So we will record that probably next weekend, and it'll be out. Yeah.
Nerds at Large Spoilercast. Check out that podcast feed.
Yeah. Okay, Larry. So you want to try to do that main topic or one of the companies?
Yeah. Do you have a preference? All right. So what we're doing basically, we did this a few weeks ago. We're kind of doing a company audit of we're at the end of this console generation, so we're looking back at company by company and kind of going over what did they release this generation? Like, how did they do this generation? We're just kind of like doing a look back before the new one. I think we did Bethesda, we did Capcom. Was that it?
Yeah, that's all we did.
That was it. Yeah,
we agreed. Capcom on the rise. Bethesda,
not so much. Few gems, but overall not great.
Well, and those gems didn't even sell well.
No,
for the most part. You had even rarer gems that sold well and were reviewed well.
Doom.
Yeah, exactly.
Doom. So today we have two more on this list. We have Ubisoft and we have Square Enix. So we might be able to get to both, but in case we don't, do you have one you'd rather do, Jeffrey?
You know I love Square.
I know. I agree. I am for that decision.
Okay.
All right, Jeffrey. So let's go through Square Enix from the
This
start
generation.
of the PS4, Xbox One generation until now, all the way back to 2014. We have Thief. Kind of forgot that game existed, to be 100% honest with you.
Kind of February 25th, 2014.
I remember people being very excited for that game. Obviously, it's like bringing back a very old franchise. Like I know even like my sister and Wolfie apparently really. I think they played this game and they liked it, but
nice.
I just don't remember people talking about it hardly at all after it came out. So I don't even remember how was it received, to be honest. It was just there.
Kind of came and went.
Then we have Hitman Go, April 17th, 2014. Was this the first of the Go games, or was like Lara Croft Go or one of the
Lara
other
Croft
ones
Go
first?
is after this one because it's lower on the list.
Yeah, that would be it. I know they had Deus Ex Go too and stuff. People really like those, but it seems like they've kind of just stopped with those. I don't know. Yeah. But they were pretty good.
I'm sure they did well for what they are.
Yeah, they were like the mobile games, like mobile puzzle platformer type.
And they were,
games and,
they were on other systems. I know people liked them on the Vita.
Yeah. That's a long time ago. Yeah. Murdered Soul Suspect, June 3rd, 2014. What is this exactly? I know I've heard that name.
I played it.
Okay.
I played this game. So what you're pretty much doing, you're a detective. You died. You're like trying to solve mysteries as a ghost.
Okay.
You possess things, possess like a cat and shit.
That sounds interesting.
It is a budget game that I think they might have sold for $60. I didn't get it for $60. I can't remember what exactly the starting price point was. It bombed miserably. I enjoyed it. But it did have some technical glitches. I'm pretty sure I had to start the final boss over again because it glitched out.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a good sign. But I did enjoy the game.
See, like
Swimming in Sevens Derby.
I think 2014 was filled with a lot of those, just because new like hardware or whatever that people didn't quite know.
So I think it was a solid game.
Yeah. Looks like a bunch of drab colors.
Yep.
And that's 20.
Because the whole thing was at night.
That's early mid 2010s gaming.
Yep.
For you.
But again, I had fun with it.
So glad that we unlocked the vibrant color patch for gaming.
Yep.
Then we have Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, December 9th, 2014. This is always a game I kind of wanted to play. This is one of those.
Well, we have it.
Gauntlet-esque, like 4-player, like go through dungeons and stuff. Yeah, like I always thought it looked interesting, and especially back then in 2014, we were kind of hurting for things to play, and like we were wanting something to play.
Oh, those were the days.
Yep. Remember, game of the year that year was Dragon Quest Inquisition, a very, very bad game.
Yeah.
It's big yikes for 2014.
Why was it not Super Smash Bros. For Wii U?
I mean, in our hearts it was.
It's true.
So didn't play it, wanted to, don't know how well it did. And those are also those like kind of spin-off Lara Croft games kind of stopped. But Final Fantasy Explorers, December 18th.
Which one's this? Look it up real quick.
Okay, I have no clue.
I got a bunch of Final Fantasy spin-offs in my head.
All right, take your
Okay,
take your
wait,
guess,
I'm trying to remember. I think they're chibi. Wait.
Are you thinking of World of Final Fantasy? Because
I think this is another chibi. I think this game was. I remember this game particularly being.
It does look chibi.
Yeah, revealed like. I mean, not completely chibi, no, but
yeah, actually, that's not chibi. They have like. Yeah,
that looks maybe a little more chibi. Maybe I don't know. But
there's a mix of.
I specifically remember this game because it. If you look at Maximilian Dude's reaction to Cloud and Smash. You're talking, Cloud on a Nintendo console. Wouldn't that be funny? Then immediately announced for this, and then later, Cloud announced for Smash. So, yeah.
6.8 out of 10 on IGN, Jeff. It's not even swimming in sevens.
At least not for IGN.
They're the be all end all, right?
It's true.
All right. Anyway, whatever. One of those Final Fantasy spinoffs. Don't know how it did. But here we go. The first important one. Life is Strange, January 30th, 2015.
Boy.
Jeff, that was a while ago.
It was.
I don't like how long ago that was. Man, that was an awesome game. It was an awesome game, and it seemed like that. Like it obviously put Dotnod on the map, and it was kind of at its time. It was like that was a very big hit for Square Enix. Just like sales wise, and obviously like the fan base for Life is Strange is like super loyal, and it's like super dedicated. Like people don't normally just casually like Life is Strange. Like you usually like you're invested in Life is Strange.
Obviously, we love it.
Oh yeah, I love it.
We did a Spoilercast for all of Before the Storm, which we'll get to later, and Dario, we need to play 2 this year.
We do. When is the last episode coming out?
It's supposed to be December.
All right, sweet.
So we will play it and talk
leading
about
up to then will probably be when. Leading up to then will be when.
I mean, probably from the next month or so we can start playing it.
Yeah,
those are ready.
Yeah, I am agree. Yeah. But yeah, Life is Strange was definitely a big high point for Square Enix. I feel like as we go through this, I feel like it's gonna get a little better and better for Square. But Square is always gonna have like, here's the really good game, here's the low budget crappy game.
Sorry, I got an idea of potentially leading up into December. I want to know what you think. It's just an idea popped in my head. We play an episode a week of Life is Strange 2, and then we talk about it to end the podcast. Just we go full in on spoilers, and that's how we end it.
Could be good.
Okay.
Could be good. Yeah.
Move it on.
Dragon Quest Heroes, February 26, 2015.
Muso game! This game looks fun.
Is this one you played? Or?
I did not. Unfortunately, that was a time after I think I played Hyrule Warriors and the One Piece ones, so I was kind of musoed out. So I just didn't. Wasn't as interested in this game. But honestly, I played a demo of it. It was actually really cool. I think it had more like RPG elements mixed in, like more Dragon Quest elements went in.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and obviously the art style and character designs were cool because it's Dragon Quest, fun monsters and all that, and I think they did a good job. What was cool is they had original characters as playable characters, but then they grabbed side characters, not the heroes, from other Dragon Quest games, and had them as playable characters.
So a little bit more of a deep roster.
Yeah.
Of people you wouldn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Gotta do something. There's a lot of Muso games.
And it did well because it has a sequel, which we'll talk about later, and I think that did pretty well too.
Nice. Bravely Second, April 23rd, 2015.
I don't think this game did great.
It didn't?
I don't
I don't
think it did as well as Bravely Default.
It was definitely not talked about nearly as much as Bravely.
No, I feel like people generally liked Bravely Default. Were kind of burnt out by the game by the end, and Bravely Second being more of the same was not appealing to them.
Bravely Default was one of those, like, at the time, there weren't a whole lot of games like that, so I was, like, I love turn-based games like that, especially old school ones, so I was super in, and I love the combat. I like the combat overall, and the music is phenomenal. I still listen to it a lot. And this is usually not something that will make me stop playing a turn-based RPG like that, but God, I just hated the characters, and I hated the writing so much to it, where, like, I just dropped out of it decently early because it's like it's grating. Like I can't stand these characters, so that was unfortunate. So obviously I had no interest in Bravely Second, but I agree. I just kind of never saw anything after that. And what did that studio go on to do? What did they do now? Like were they the
Octopath Traveler?
So it is the same. No, that's a different studio, but I think it's a lot of the same people. I'm pretty sure it is a different studio, but I think it's like pretty much all the same people. Yeah, duh. I knew they did something that I knew. I kind of forgot what. Final Fantasy 14 Heaven's Ward, June 23rd, 2015.
Yeah, I don't think they have the expansions in here, so this is kind of just Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, we'll have more. We will have our impressions on whatever the Heaven's Ward content was in the future for us. But
yeah, so yeah, obviously Final Fantasy 14 we talked about before. Came out, was terrible.
Yes.
It did not do well. Square Enix got off their ass, made it good. People responded positively, and it is
one of gaming's biggest redemption stories.
Yeah, it is. At least I would say in the West, one of the biggest MMOs.
Is this the like redemption? Is this when it changed, or
I think it'd be a Realm Reborn, which is technically the first part of it.
Okay, so was that earlier? That was before, like,
that was
2014 or 13 or something.
Yeah. So I'm happy they're able to do that, and obviously it has been successful because they keep on doing stuff for doing crossovers. Just put out a giant expansion, which is being might be the best received expansion for the game.
It definitely feels like it.
Yeah,
from what people say. I would recommend it. Danny O'Dwyer's No Clip documentary on Final Fantasy 14 is super good. Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those, like, Square is such a frustrating company to me because, like, when pushed, Square could be amazing. Square can create masterpieces that you'll remember for the rest of your life. But if Square is able to rest on their laurels at all, they will just put something out with, like, a low effort and charge $60 for it. It's like, I don't know. It's like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Good God, like, this is just like peak Square, but it's like as soon as you get peak Square, then they'll put out some crap. It's like, I don't know. They're a frustrating company because they have some of my favorite games, but they also are not afraid to just drill the franchises you love into the ground. Lara Croft Go, August 26, 2015. I know it was another one that people like these Go games a lot. I think Lara Croft was the one I heard about the most. Seemed really good, but I didn't play it much, but what I did play, Rise of the Tomb Raider, November 10th, 2015.
Still haven't played that one.
God, man, it's really...
I need to play it. I have access to because of Game Pass and crap.
I mean, like, the whole Tomb Raider series, like, it's not like it's going to be your favorite games of all time, but they are just a lot of fun to play in a weekend. Mm-hmm. You just play for a few days, you knock them out or whatever, and it's just like, it's very cinematic, it's very linear, but it's just like you go through this journey and it's just like they're just fun. I just enjoy them.
I want to get to them at some point. It probably won't be anytime soon considering everything that's coming out the next year.
Yeah. No, I know now it's not the time, and it might never be the time.
But again, I have access to it now at any time, so let's say there's a new one announced, the hype gets going, and like you said, they can be done in a weekend, and I already played the first one, so
yeah. And I think Rise is always going to be kind of the most iconic one out of this trilogy just because, or I mean, probably the first one for most people, but the Rise just took what the first one did and improved on so much of it. And I remember, like, playing Rise and Uncharted 4, like, back to back. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, I was honestly thinking, like, I prefer Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I remember you thinking that.
It was like,
you being the minority.
The vast minority with that. But it was like, just especially when you compare those two side by side because they came out in the same year, it was like Tomb Raider just had so much more depth as far as like the actual gameplay, and you're like salvaging for things. Like I'm crafting, like my weapons feel like that bow felt like my bow, like it felt like I made it the way I wanted it, and like I made this like. Obviously, the Uncharted story is way better than Tomb Raider's, but the actual act of playing Tomb Raider was just fun, like at all times. Whereas in Uncharted, there are definitely times where like I'm playing this to get to the next story beat, you know, and but so like Rise was just so awesome, and I actually think Shadow of the Tomb Raider does a lot of things better, but Rise is always going to be, it didn't sell well, and Rise is going to be what a lot of people remember as the peak, and like some of those snowy environments and a lot of things, like I have very good memories of, I could just like, that's a cozy game, I could just pop in Rise of the Tomb Raider and just go through it and have fun, and especially like you look back at it for 2015, Rise of the Tomb Raider looks like it could be a modern game. It looks good.
Oh yeah,
it looks really good. Where am I? Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
This Darby
November
is my
26,
toaster strudel. This is generally my biggest disappointment of the gen. One of them.
Like what could have been? What should have been?
Because honestly, thinking back at it, I should have put the second Dissidia game when we did our top 20 games on that list. I love the game that much. I love it. And this counts like... And I'm far from alone. I have a common opinion.
I mean, this is a game that on concept, I want to love. Like, you put a bunch of Final Fantasy like characters into any sort of fighting game. Like, this is not the style of fighting game that I would prefer. I would prefer a 2D one. But anyway, I mean, like, I would still like. I mean,
just generally, and I don't think it's just a nostalgia thing. Because obviously, I look back at ones I played younger. I have more nostalgia for the 3D arena fighters. And those games just aren't good. This idea, I think it's the best of the bunch by far.
Yeah. It's just a shame. It was like, so what were the biggest problems with this for people who weren't?
Well, it started out as an arcade game, which had me worried anyway. Not that, things that start arcade can't be great because there have been plenty of those. But it made them start out with a roster that was just the heroes through 14. So only 14 characters. when the other game had the heroes and villains through 13, and then additional characters for some games.
It had, like,
so
at
it
least
started out with
one.
less than half their roster. Then they slowly added the villains to the game, and they're just now getting to the same amount of characters, I think, as the last game had on the PSP, and they don't even have all the characters.
And it's like 4 years later.
Yeah. There's still some characters. I think they just added Tifa.
And just the gameplay itself just didn't seem as good. Like that
No.
HUD was terrible. A lot of the moves
HUD was
just didn't.
Awful, and yeah, just the general gameplay of it was just it's a lot more nonsense. Like the gameplay on the PSP was just a lot more cohesive.
Yeah.
I think part of it is because this one is NT's 3v3. Especially with that HUD, it was just a whole bunch of nonsense happening. There were giant summons and all that.
And visually, it didn't look good in 2015. It
Yeah.
super doesn't look good now. It's like, I don't know.
Very disappointing.
Just Cause 3, December 1st, 2015. All these Just Cause games just kind of happen and keep going. But I know Just Cause 3 is the one that sold like a bajillion. I think it sold a ton. And
I think we
like,
should pop in one of these for a
oh,
stream.
yeah. They're like dumb fun
Because I think
games.
4 is on
It's
Game
like
Pass, so
Explosion the game.
So if we wanted to do that.
A game you did play, Dragon Quest Builders, January 28th, 2016.
I did play this?
I thought you did.
Well, I
Did
did
you
play
not
a little bit, I guess.
I
I played
thought
a little
you
bit of
did.
a demo.
Okay. A game that Jeff didn't play, Dragon Quest Builders, January 28th, 2016.
No, I played a little bit of it. With whatever the demo allowed me to do. It's fun. I've said it time and time again on mic and off mic that if I was getting into the Minecraft thing, this is the game I would do because it has the more RPG elements. It has an aesthetic and character designs that of a series I love, and the fact that it kind of just has a story kind of just speaks to me more. And you can still do all the Minecraft nonsense.
Yeah. And Brandon Jones likes it, so that's enough
true.
for me. Boo, ba, ba, doom, boom.
Milo better like it.
I almost said Bravely Second because I looked up at Dragon Quest Heroes. I should scroll down a little bit. I Am Setsuna, February 18th,
Setsuna?
2016.
Yeah.
It was super well received. I was very interested in playing it. It like seemed it was another one of those old school things, but it seemed like the story would speak to me a little more than Bravely Default. Don't know how well it sold, and then that company went on.
I think it sold pretty well.
That company just went on to produce duds after that. It seems like with.
Then Oni we'll get to it later. Did Oni knock you?
It did not review well, at least.
Okay, I can't remember.
Like everyone, I think it was at best swimming in sevens, and people were like, "There's just nothing special about this game. It's just kind of it's a turn-based RPG, and there's just nothing to, especially in today when there's so many."
I'm gonna put this in my phone to remember, Dory. I think a good conversation is: are swimmings and sevens a thing that can still happen now? Like, is swimming and sevens okay at this point?
Yeah, that you would actually play. You would make the time
just
to play.
in general. Because I think that was fine when we were younger, but now there's just too many. So I'm going to put that down, and we will use that as a topic.
It's legitimately hard to make room for a 7 when there's a 9 every other week.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good topic. Yeah. So I'll write that down.
Hitman, March 11th, 2016.
Cool, man. I need to play more of this game.
Another like big, like at least critical, like another big like saving grace for Square. I know there was a lot
But they were upset with how it sold. Wow.
Yeah, to the point where it's not Square anymore.
Yeah. I'm blanking on the studio name.
Yeah, me too.
Is it IO Interactive?
Yes,
Yeah.
IO Interactive.
Yeah. They were super happy with everything, and obviously, review-wise, it was received very well. Like it was. I think it's safe to say for 2016 for a single-player game, it's the like biggest stream game, let's play game, one of them.
Yeah, and there was like some unhappiness at first with the whole
episodic
thing,
but then like, when it came around to Hitman 2, there were a lot of people that were actually kind of missed the.
Yeah.
I see the pros and cons of it.
Me too. Yeah, but once it was all out, I think no one can deny it was like, no, this was.
Darren, we need to play more of this game.
Hitman at its best, and it was.
I think this is one of those games we need to this and going into like we can do this and then go into 2. Mm-hmm. This is one of those like little series we're living together. We just need to do.
Yeah, maybe we should just do an ongoing series. I 100% agree, and we can just trade back and forth.
Yep, I do want to play more of this game. It's fantastic.
100%. Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. I remember when this game came out just by the name.
I can't even remember anything about this particular Star Ocean game.
I think this is one that people didn't like. I thought I remember this being a big deal coming out, and then I thought I remember Star Ocean fans being unhappy. But I really don't know anything about Star Ocean.
I played one Star Ocean game when I was younger. I think I liked it.
Was that it?
Or I get it mixed up with Phantasy Star. Actually, I played both at some point.
Phantasy Star is an MMO, isn't it?
No, there are some non-online ones.
Okay.
I played a non-online one.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2.
I don't know any differences between 1 and 2, but I know people like this one. I think I remember generally hearing and seeing that it is an improvement over 1. So that's nice. Give me the Musos.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided, August 23rd, 2016, was sold so bad that the studio got disbanded, didn't it? Or or at least like the Deus Ex got shelved.
Yeah.
After this,
100% got shelved.
Yeah. Like, I think I've heard a lot of people like argue for this game being like, no, this was a truly great game that no one played. Like, it was a hidden gem, you know. I think the people who like it
there
really
is
like
so
it,
much of that you would think it's a Bethesda game.
No, this was a very Bethesda-esque thing. I remember, people liked it, but like it sold miserably, and like I said, to the point where who knows when Deus Ex is coming back. I still think it could, but
yeah.
World of Final Fantasy, October 2016, which means like. It's about anytime I see World of Final Fantasy, I just immediately think about how hyped I was when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced. Because I remember it was Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then immediately it was World of Final Fantasy, or the other way around. It was one.
I think it was World of Final Fantasy first.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Because why in the world would you follow up that Final Fantasy VII with that?
It was Devolver Digital was the next thing. I think they had something. Like, I remember there was something right after that. I'm like, that poor game. It has to come right after this. Yeah. But for some reason, I always just think about those things together in my mind. Also, because I just had no interest in World of Final Fantasy. This is the chibi, crossover side thing. Like, it's for someone, not me.
A lot of people liked it, and I think it sold decently well.
But probably what Square was treating like one of the biggest games on this entire list, and probably is one of the biggest games, like the biggest. It
sold really well.
It might be the biggest game that we've talked about yet. Final Fantasy 15, November 29th, 2016. Not September.
Yeah.
Not September.
The release cycle for this game. Oh boy.
It really didn't get finished until like last year.
You're right. Yeah. Kind of forgot.
But the longer you waited on Final Fantasy 15, the better game you were going to play.
Now we get the best experience. Whenever we get to it.
Yeah, is it safe to play now? Can we come out and play it now?
I know we have physical copies and we regret getting them. But is there any reason for us not to just go ahead and play it on PC at this point? Or there's some PC things
having to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, but I thought there were some PC things that might make it stand apart or something. I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
Mods.
To be honest with you, I mean, mods are cool.
Yeah,
no, mods are always cool. Final Fantasy 15 is going to be like such a weirdly remembered game because it's not nearly. Like, it's contentious, but it's not like Final Fantasy 13 where I feel like it's like majority dislike, or at least public perception wise. Like,
I think like with 15 is not even a mixed thing of people liked, people liked it and some people hated it. It was kind of like people liked it and some people were like, eh.
Yeah, like
it was there.
I didn't see many people that are like, this game's terrible. Like, there are some, but like. It wasn't like
not like Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13. There's like passionate hate for that game. This game
I think what adds to 13's hate is the fact it got a trilogy of all the Final Fantasy numbers.
Yeah. Completely.
Where's our 12-2?
It's like Square just wanted to only make Final Fantasy 13 content from now to the end of time. They thought that they just had the best thing in the world.
They were just so happy with how great Lightning's design is, but they just took it too far.
I don't think 13 is as bad as people say, but it's still definitely not like one that I'll remember insanely fondly. But I mean, I do remember it fondly, just not comparatively. I still want to play 15. I'd still definitely want to play 15 at some point. The fact that there was a new Final Fantasy game in 2016 and it's 2019, I haven't played it, is, weird, but it's how things go, Kingdom Hearts HD
2.8
final chapter prologue.
And yes, that's how they do it they use the Roman numerals for the 2, the numeric for the 8.
Anime was a mistake.
Darby, never say that. Anime is a gift from God. And a curse.
What was this besides a dumb name?
It was, I think, this one had Dream Drop Distance, a 3DS game. It had pretty much what was
it's a port collection.
No. Not this one. It actually had new content where you actually played a kind of prequel thing to 3 as Aqua
in the Max Goofy son.
Yeah. Max not mentioned ever. You played as Aqua in a little story thing in the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine, and then you got a movie of the mobile game. A CGI movie of the mobile game.
Sounds great. Watch this movie of the game.
Sorry, I've said it before. I'm going to reiterate it. I am legitimately shocked after playing 3 how important to the story the mobile game is.
Is it the card game? Mobile game? Is that
that's the Game Boy game.
Okay.
I am shocked how important that mobile game is.
Like, you will not understand this game.
You need to at least read up on some mobile game lore.
It's hilarious.
It's a reason to criticize the game, but it's part of the reason I love it.
I mean, like, Kingdom Hearts shouldn't exist, but I'm glad it does. It's just like it also shouldn't be like the 3rd highest selling game of the year.
Yes, it should.
but no, I'm glad. I'm just saying, by all logic, it shouldn't be.
Never bet against anime.
Nier Automata.
Never bet against anime. So one of the
February 23rd, 2017.
big breakout stories of the gen, I think it's safe to say.
Definitively, and the biggest shockers. Like, anyone who saw this coming, like, you didn't. You're a liar.
Is it ridiculous to say 2B might be one of the most iconic characters to be created in the last couple of years? Video game characters.
That is a big sentence, but I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong completely.
Because obviously, I feel like Nier is... Obviously, Nier fans love 2B, but I feel like it's one of those things that even people who don't know Nier...
Like, that her design, or like, she is iconic. Like, she is definitely... She is an icon for sure.
It's at the point where if she was announced for a Smash, I wouldn't.
No,
I'd be hyped, but it wouldn't. Well, especially at this point, I wouldn't be surprised like with Joker.
It wouldn't be. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be a stand up and scream. It'd be like, sweet, it's happening.
It might be, but it wouldn't be as afterwards be as shocked like this changes everything type thing. But.
Right.
No, but this game is fantastic. I love it. It's one of those games. The more I think about it, the more I love it.
And it's like, this easily could have been a game that it's like, it's critically received. People love it. Think it's one of the best games of all time, and it sold
Just
nothing.
Bombed.
And it absolutely bombed. We could have been talking now where
critically, it's better than the other games in this series, and sales wise, it definitely did better.
I can't unless Square just had some insane expectations that they shouldn't have had for this game.
No!
I have to imagine
the fact they
quadrupled what they thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean the fact 2B's in Soul Calibur and they're doing a crossover with Final Fantasy 14, I think, says enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Nier Automata is just like, I'm not even interested in the game. Probably never going to play it. It's not my type of thing. But I am so just impressed and love that this game got what it got. And that Yoko Taro making his art project sold 4 million copies or something.
I'm just going to say right here, Darby. Robbed as a nominee for the Game Awards Game of the Year. It should have been in PUBG's spot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, especially in hindsight, it's like, ooh, y'all want to take that one back?
Yeah. Yeah. Next game. Ooh boy. Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of Elusive Age.
That's how you better read that whole title, boy.
Yeah. July 29th, 2017 in Japan. We're not going to bring up the other release dates, so we'll just talk about this as a whole. Obviously, this sold really well. I think S is selling well, considering it's a port in Japan and stuff. So that is exciting.
The only downside is I think I remember seeing things about how they were disappointed about at least U.S. sales. Might have been just all of outside Japan sales.
Wait, what?
I thought I remembered seeing that like Square was not happy with the sales outside of Japan, in America, because they tried to do a big push in America for this Dragon Quest versus previous ones.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing stories about them not being satisfied.
I'm curious to see how the sales are with S, because I feel like the marketing has been better for S than it ever was for regular 11, and Nintendo is pushing it hard, and Smash will help this 11 out in the West. That's a fact.
Oh yeah, Smash is a good marketing tool.
And honestly, it's just my section of Twitter. This is not representative of obviously the game, gaming at large, but I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, it's my first time trying Dragon Quest 11. Why in the world was this not nominated for more Game of the Year stuff last year?
Mm-hmm. What were all the nominations last year?
I mean,
RDR2. I was trying to think of what the nominations were last year to see if I think that,
it was just kind of for like general things. Yes, even in RPG things, I felt like it wasn't.
Yeah.
And some people didn't feel like it was, talked about enough.
Yeah.
Last year was the same with Red Dead, God of War, Celeste, Monster Hunter, et cetera, et cetera.
God of War. Did you say God of War?
I didn't say God of War.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and Smash. And,
yeah, last year's a tough year. But, yeah.
Spider-Man. I put it above Spider-Man personally.
But the fact that a lot of people think that this was kind of the first like mainline Dragon Quest in a long time, and people thought it lived up to like all the years and years and years of hype. Which is
plus with S, it adds a lot to even potentially for people to go back and replay it with the whole old school SNES sprite stuff.
And this is like it's weird. We've seen a lot of JRPGs like people like try to take the formula into new directions from the modern age, which is I like that and I want that, but you look at Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest as like the two big JRPG franchises going back into history, and Final Fantasy has gotten very experimental and gone in a bunch of different directions, and it's somewhat like not tarnished their reputation, but it's like Final Fantasy is not a crisp and clear all the way path that's perfection the whole time. It's like they went in a bunch of different directions, and I'm glad they do, because you get stuff like Final Fantasy 12 that never ever would have existed if they just stayed traditional, and I love that. But it is interesting to compare that to Dragon Quest that has been more like, no, we're going to celebrate the turn-based RPG, and we're going to like Dragon Quest 11 is a very traditional thing, and that's not, I wouldn't want it to be only that, but I like that Dragon Quest has stayed as kind of a beacon of that era of JRPG.
Yeah, it does it really well. Yeah, it's nice to have like a AAA on whatever turn-based JRPG.
Yeah, like at its core, it's still traditional, but it looks amazing. Then we had Life is Strange Before the Storm, August 31st, 2017. So much better than it had any right to be. Yep. Me and you, we were both pretty blown away. Like when this happened, it's like, okay, this is going to be a cool little prequel thing. I never expected it to like reach a lot of the emotional highs that the other one did. And I did not expect this going in. I think it's kind of you need to play this as addition to Life is Strange. Like you shouldn't just play Life is Strange. Like they're a package deal. You need to play both.
I'd be curious to hear someone's opinions of this stuff. Someone playing Before the Storm before the first one.
I still think you should play Release Order, because I think it's cool to like go through the story and then learn about Rachel. Yeah. It's kind of like Star Wars and some other things. Like I think
I definitely take that back just because of the last thing you see in Before the Storm. It shows big spoilers for the first game.
Yeah.
Big spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I think generally most of these things, like generally in like film and movies,
they assume
you should watch the Release Order more often than not. And I think this is one of those two. But yeah. No, and as far as I know, it did well. Like obviously not nearly as well as Life is Strange, I'm sure, but it's something I'm so glad happened. It's really, really good. Lost Sphere, October 12th, 2017. This is the next one from the I Am Setsuna devs, right?
Tokyo RPG Factory.
That one, Tokyo RPG Factory. And this one was not well received from what I remember.
Yeah, and I don't think it's
kind of went into obscurity.
Yep. Moving on, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. I don't know what to say.
It's so strange. They made, like, if you don't remember, they made they basically, it's the entirety of Final Fantasy 15 in chibi form, and you can play it on your phones and like Switch, right?
It is on Switch.
That's crazy. It's the entire game.
Yeah.
In chibi form, like.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about the game that it can be pared down to that. Like, I wonder how this game plays. I really honestly didn't even see that much about it. What?
Secret of Mana, I think it was received terribly.
Yeah, this was the 3DS remake, right?
I think so.
Yeah. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, June 26, 2018, was the like short little like prologue thing or whatever for
Life is
Strange 2.
It was cool.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. Not that long, but it was good.
Yep.
Speaking of things of what could have been, Octopath Traveler, July 13th, 2018. One of the most conflicted games I've ever had in my entire life. Where
are there PC mods that speed up the grinding?
Yeah, I think there are. I don't think they're the easiest to do because Square is not big on allowing mods. Like, I think you have to kind of go in the back end to do things. But
damn it, Square.
At least that's what I think I read like around when it first
I
came
feel
out.
like this game would have been received so much better. I mean, in none of the ways weren't received great, but just generally
there was a lot like me that like initial great reception that kind of like
teetered
out.
Yeah. I feel like that wouldn't have been a thing if the grinding wasn't so crazy.
That's literally the only like big change in these.
Like literally, if you just make the one change of everyone levels up in every battle, that's all I need.
Yeah, no, they had a great game.
They literally just need to do what all JRPGs do nowadays.
Yeah,
or like, most of them do.
And even if I had like Final Fantasy 7 and 9 and 8 when they re-released those, they have like a fast forward button.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably all I need. Like that, like they could have I don't know, and it's bad that you shouldn't have to do that. They should just make like everyone levels up together and like take the levels down for certain areas, because it's not often that I can say that's literally the only big problem in this game.
Yeah.
I like the writing, like it's nothing that special, but it was like
serviceable,
clever enough or whatever. Art style like is still one of my favorite art styles for any game of all time. It's phenomenal, and one of the best soundtracks in all of gaming.
This has been something that's been said, and as someone who hasn't played too much of the original, I love a Final Fantasy like 6 remake in this art style.
Oh yeah.
I understand 6 people might be bummed considering all the love 7's getting, but let's be realistic here.
Yeah, I mean 6 is kind of one of those that, in a weird way, like I'll say this even as a Final Fantasy 7 mega fan. Final Fantasy 6 is the one that looks better in its original state right now.
Oh, 100%.
100% with the sprites. They're still beautiful today. Final Fantasy 7, a lot of it looks ugly today. Like, I love it, but, comparatively so.
I mean, just kind of from a general thing, 6 is probably the Final Fantasy game that ages the best out of...
Because the ones before that look a little more basic. 6 was like, this is the height of sprite, but it's still sprite, so it like looks good,
Yeah.
No, I would love that. I would play that in a heartbeat. Octopath Traveler version. So Octopath Traveler, like, and I got 55 good hours out of Octopath Traveler, which is a lot. Like, it's weird. Like, I talk super negative when I talk about Octopath Traveler, but I loved what I played of it. And, like, I would love nothing more than to see it through to the end. But it just got to the point where it's just, like, I'm staring down, like, half of my party is so severely underleveled. It would just, like, and there's not enough to do in the world. So, like, I literally got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to have to walk around in a circle and get into 80 random encounters. And it's like, I'm sorry, maybe back when I was in middle school, I would do this, but there's too many other games. It's a bummer.
Speaking of games that you probably dropped Octopath for.
Yeah. Yeah, it was about that time, wasn't it? Shadow of the Tomb Raider, September 14th, 2018. Underrated game. I
felt like it received actually pretty well. It just didn't sell great.
Nah, it was, yeah. I mean, generally, I think there were some people that didn't like it, but overall, it was received. The very few people who played it really liked it. I thought it was a new studio, so it was Eidos Montreal instead of Crystal Dynamics. There was a little worry there, but I think they nailed it. The environment is like my favorite in a Tomb Raider game yet. You're like in the jungle is the complete opposite of Rise of the Tomb Raider, like in Siberia. It was dope. And like the lot of gunplay and everything. Again, it was like nothing like absolutely groundbreaking, but it refined the Tomb Raider like combat and exploration super well. Like, I loved exploring in that game. This is probably a game I'm gonna go back and play again just because it's fun to play.
I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is also a victim of Square marketing it awfully. Yeah. It's like there are times where, like with Final Fantasy VII, where Square's marketing is perfect besides the whole part thing. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of other times, like I would say with Dragon Quest XI originally and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, is like, what are you doing?
It just seems like they have different marketing teams, and some are super better than others. And it's like, this game, you get the bad one.
Even Kingdom Hearts was, a whole lot better.
Yeah, they were pushing that all over the place.
Yeah,
every like major event had Kingdom Hearts, and it was
that a trailer people were talking about, whether you're a fan or not, at least.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, especially. Remember how big of a deal 2013 Tomb Raider was?
Yeah.
It was huge.
I think we looked at some point, and it is one of the best selling Square Enix games, just period.
I would absolutely believe. I mean, that game was a big deal. Like, my sister was playing it. There was people I know who like never played games back then who were playing it. I mean, it was a big deal. It was like Tomb Raider is back. It's like, remember back to the like, PS1? It's like, yeah, Tomb Raider is back. Yeah. And Rise obviously didn't, like, I don't think they were ever going to sell that much again. But Rise was like, it seemed like a big deal too. It was like the big successor to that. It didn't sell as well, but it still seemed like a big deal. And it's just wild to me that a few years later we got the sequel to those two great games. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people didn't even know this game happened.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because it's not like this is some little spin-off. Like, it was a bona fide sequel, and it was really good. It makes me sad.
Yep.
Life is Strange 2.
Speaking of games that will make us sad. And, in a different way.
And speaking of games that have not really been handled well in the marketing department, Life is Strange 2. First episode released September 27th, over a year ago.
Yeah, and Darby and I will maybe play the first episode, but we'll finally go through and play them all. Play that one, episode 1 probably again, and then go through the rest of them.
I think we can both agree this should have been released like this year. And probably later into this year, the first episode.
If
they should have held off on this for
if it's going to be this big, I
while.
wish they just waited till this year and just released it all at once.
Yeah, I do too.
So, yeah. Darren and I said before, we will play this game. We will talk about it. We will probably love it.
But it just sucks. We're at the point where, like, I might need to just replay that first episode again. Yeah. Probably will, because it's been over a year.
Yep. But I'm excited to get back to it.
But yeah, this is all of our complaints are like nothing about the quality of the game. The quality
we love the first episode,
amazing. But I'm so worried that this is going to spell doom for Life is Strange, though, because people are not even remotely talking about this like they were.
Did you see how I mean, I'm sure you've seen like how crazy the sales have been for this game. The sales prices for this game since the first episode came out. Like, even before episode 2 came out, it was like you can get this. I think you could get the whole season for like $20 shortly after. It's like, well, fuck us then.
Yeah, great. We paid $40. Thanks.
And we get we get all the content at the same time.
Yeah, and then it was like one of the very early games on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, the episodes I think released on Game Pass shortly after. I haven't heard about the recent ones, so I don't know if it's just they stopped at 2. But
I thought you got the whole package with it.
No, it was just the episodes. Okay. They're releasing them one by one. I don't know if they stopped or not.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just really hope this game can find an audience, but I feel like it's too late now.
Yeah.
I feel like it needed to have that big, push at the beginning.
I feel like the best chance for this game is if people are going to do like us and count it as, I don't see why they want it as a 2019 game, and a lot of people talk about it like Game of the Year for the people that are big fans that follow it.
But you just compare Life is Strange to this point. Like, even like obviously Life is Strange had big word of mouth, and after we played it way after the fact, and you know that happened a lot. But even as the episodes were coming out, there was a whole hell of a lot more buzz about that game than there is this one, which is concerning. Speaking of concerning,
was it? I don't know if I got that date right.
It concerned me that Square Enix put this game out, but
you're right,
and put it on E3. The Quiet Man, November 1st, 2018. We're almost at the anniversary.
This game was a treat.
Memes, the game.
This game is special, Darby.
It's special.
For all the wrong reasons.
I'm so glad this game exists. I'm so happy this game exists.
What were they thinking?
Like, it's one of the biggest, like, marketing to actual quality of the game, like, busts that I've ever seen in my life.
Like, it immediately came out of, this just looks terrible. And it was terrible.
It's just kind of is unbelievable as a game that Square put on their E3 press conferences. Yeah. It's crazy. But go watch the Easy Alice playthrough of it because it's hysterical.
Oh, you watched it finally?
I've watched. I don't think I saw the whole thing. I was like watching it, but I haven't gone through the whole thing.
It's a treat.
It is a treat. All right, we're almost done. Just Cause 4, December 4th, 2018.
Don't think it's sold well at all.
Yeah.
I think it reviewed decently. Some in the sevens.
I think we were talking about terrible marketing. This was another one. It's like you could kind of forget it came out. I mean, it just came out that December time when it's just.
But we should get around it. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah. 3 or 4. I don't know if there's that much of a difference besides Fire 28 days. Kingdom Hearts 3, January 25th, 2019.
It's real.
Not 2018.
Yep.
But 2019.
2019. It's finally out, and the farther we get away from it, the more I'm seeing more people tell how disappointed they are. And I'm like, I loved it.
We're doing that whole revisionist history thing.
Yeah.
You know, Breath of the Wild really wasn't that great.
Yeah. But I hear people like Bradley Ellis like, yeah, I love the ending, and that's like, I'm not alone.
Someone like me.
I love this game. I think I was talking about last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Fire Emblem and Link's Awakening, those being my front runner for Game of the Years or whatever. It's like, I forgot about Kingdom Hearts at the time. Like, come on, man.
How would you feel? Just like, I forgot about Red Dead when I did that list. I was like, I'm thinking too current. Or like in that case, I was thinking too far back.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, like, it's January. So it's like, yeah, that's the very beginning of the year. So
yeah,
that's some excuse. But I love this game, man. And we've mentioned earlier, it's selling very well. The third best-selling game in the U.S. this year.
That's so wild.
I wouldn't have expected. I'm all for it. It's gonna fall down the list the next couple months, but the fact that it will most likely I would say the fact that this game is probably going to be in the top 10 best-selling U.S. games is crazy to me. I'm so happy.
Yeah. I just love so much that you got Final Fantasy, or you got Kingdom Hearts 3 early this year, and then I'm getting Final Fantasy 7 Remake early next year. It's just boom, boom.
Yeah. That's part 2 as well, man.
And everything. In the roller coaster that is Square Enix going through their things, Left Alive, March 5th, 2019. Again,
and a game that I was like, what in the world were they thinking? And terrible marketing, but can we really blame the marketing when it's just a terrible game?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sell it.
Like the premise,
up and down.
The premise of when they first announced it was kind of exciting. It's like they're getting a bunch of like Metal Gear guys. It's like Metal Gear. This looks cool. This looks cool. And then you hear nothing about it, and then suddenly there's a release date, and then their trailers is like, this doesn't look great, but there's still time. Blah blah. Then it sounds like this is literally a PS2 game. What is this shit?
That's crazy. All right, we need to finish up.
It's not even a fun, like, watch people do Let's Play game. It's bad.
It's just straight up bad.
Like, Quiet Man is a treasure.
Yeah,
this is just
Quiet
trash.
Man is great. We love Quiet Man.
Dragon Quest Builders 2. It's more Dragon Quest Builders. It is great. It improved on a lot of things. I am happy for people that this exists. Oninaki, it exists. Then we got to the future dark. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is happening. It looks incredible. It's going to sell gangbusters, regardless if it's incredible.
It's kind of one of those things that I think that's going to do so well that it kind of doesn't matter if some of the other games this would like end up being bust.
I mean, Final Fantasy VII, for what they showed, I'm going to be shocked if it's bad. It's at that point for what they showed.
Me too. And like you said, even if it somehow happens to be bad, it's still going to sell a bunch.
Yeah, but I don't think it is. So.
Yeah. And then Avengers is a big question mark. We kind of already talked about that a lot today.
Avengers sales is going to sell well, but how well is the question.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it has a chance of bombing to the point of like Anthem because it has the Avengers name. Like Anthem was not something that people knew ahead of time.
Yeah, but from a quality standpoint, it's such a big question mark.
It's a very, very big
question mark. But the Kamala Khan trailer gets me excited.
They have such an easy way of getting you excited just because they have characters that you care about.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's just not going to be enough for me if I don't want to play the actual
game. I'll probably...
So.
It just might be if... And, you know, my feeling on this will change as we get closer to launch and see more and all that, but I'm feeling like, based on what we've seen, Probably worst case scenario is I don't get it because I don't get it day one and just kind of forget about it. But I feel like realistically, it's going to be I get it later on a sale.
Yeah.
Because even if the game of the service stuff, I'm like, this is dumb. Why is this in here? That story, especially for that amount of time, will be enough for me to have fun with it. Unless it's just terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be outright terrible. I just don't.
I don't think it's going to be the game changer, game buster, or whatever that we were maybe hoping. Like maybe
And
just
just
the Spider-Man.
when you look at the gameplay, compare it to a lot of the other like action games we've got recently, and it just looks uninventive and subpar.
And then Trials of Mana, which probably won't do great.
It's not going to sell well, but I at least hope it's not meant to. I think it's meant for the fans that want to see these. You know,
Babylon's Fall. Still know nothing about this game. I'm curious.
Not even enough to talk about it. I mean, like that was 2 E3s ago, right?
I feel like Platinum's on a roll though, so it gets me more excited.
It does, but like we know literally nothing.
Dying Light 2. It looks good.
Don't think it's gonna sell well though.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
It looks good. Fans will like it. Outriders. I can't even remember what this game is. Oh wait,
that's the one with the really generic.
It was
CG
one of the most
cutscene.
generic things ever.
Yep, it's like Gears of War soldier men fighting some weird
Darby,
monsters.
I have a bold take. This game's gonna flop.
How could you say something so racist? Yeah. So overall,
Mixed bag.
very mixed bag, and I think that is just Square Enix. Square Enix mixed bag. It's like so hard to judge this company. Like they are one of the hardest companies in the world to get the finger on because
that's the thing is we looked at Capcom and Bethesda and we saw like a evolution change or whatever for both of them.
There was a story, whether it was up or down.
Yeah, like that. Capcom and Bethesda were two great ones to start this with.
Mm-hmm.
Square is one where it's just up and down for the whole thing, and the future just looks up and down.
Yep, like no era of this was ever just completely good or completely bad. It was always like there's gems and there's bad. Like Square Enix is not one of those. Like Nintendo, obviously you see Nintendo and you pretty much know that you're going to get a base level of quality with very few exceptions. Like Square Enix, it's like the name itself means basically nothing. Like you have to look into like what is actually being released.
When are you going to do Nintendo for this? What counts as a gen for that?
Yeah.
I guess we would start at Wii U.
I wasn't even thinking about it in the context of this, but I was just thinking. Like the Square Enix brand does not carry a lot of weight on its own. It's like you gotta look further than that.
Yeah. Can't even look at first, again, many of these necessarily the IP, the series it's from.
No, because a lot of times they'll have really good games, but they are, again, not afraid to take that IP and just like crap something out with it, you know, like use it for some very subpar game. And, yeah. So that's it, Jeff. Our podcast, where we didn't have a whole lot of news, almost reached 2 hours.
Yes, we did it. Keeping the streak going.
And it's 11:45. So
it's been about an hour
on
the Square Enix stuff.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
It was fun. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Look forward to a Joker spoiler cast. We'll probably record it next weekend, so it'll probably go out next week. But maybe we'll record it some night this week. We'll figure it out. Do you have a day that you're off?
Wednesday.
Okay. Maybe. We'll see. But sometime soon, Nerds at Live Spoilercast feed and this YouTube channel. Look forward to stuff with this fancy new camera and our new setup. So things are going to get better. All right. Peace. Fusion.